Still talking climate change, multiple African governments have justified their decision to send substantial delegations to the COP28 climate conference in Dubai, despite facing widespread criticism. According to the UN's attendance list, Nigeria, Morocco, Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, and Uganda were among the nations with the largest teams. Responding to the criticism, representatives from Nigeria and Kenya clarified that a significant portion of the delegations comprised individuals representing the media, civil society organizations, and private institutions who were not publicly funded. Both countries also emphasized that some listed delegates were participating remotely. Well, for more on this development, let's now speak with the climate change activist, Philip Jakwa, who joins us live via Zoom. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 7. Well, history was made when, at the opening ceremony of COP28, about $400 million was raised for the loss and damage fund. And what do you think Nigeria must actually do to access the loss and damage fund, which has now been operationalized?
Okay, thank you very much. I think before the COP began, in fact, since last year when the climate, when the COP27 held, the discussion had always been how the loss and damage fund will be operationalized. So it is actually good news that this COP opened with that particular issue with the operationalization of the fund. But it is not yet Hosanna, because if we look at the sums that have been raised, it is not very, very encouraging, we must confess, because look at a country like the United States, for instance. The United States only committed about $17.5 or so million. The host committed $100 million. I think the UK about $100 million. Now, that country is the same country that has committed over $75 billion in 1 year, $75 billion to the Ukraine-Russia war. So it's just pittance. That is the starting point. And then I don't think we should start celebrating yet, because we've not heard about the modalities of how that money is going to be disbursed. And I think that is very, very crucial. So we hear a lot of things like, oh, Nigeria and other countries are going to benefit. You are only going to benefit if you have something concrete you have to put on the ground. So it is not yet Hosanna yet until we are able to come up with something concrete that will attract those funds. Let's not forget that there are many other countries that also want to access the funds. So it is not like, oh, because it has been operationalized, that means Nigeria will actually get some funds if we don't have anything concrete. And for now, I think it is discordant tunes from us when we are talking about transition to clean energy, when we are talking about compressed natural gas, and we still hear on the side that the Nigerian government is prospecting oil in the north and other parts of the country. So I don't think it's time to celebrate yet until we're able to come up with coherence in terms of what we actually want to do in terms of climate change, before we'll ultimately assess that fund.
All right. We expect that the government would speak on that. Already we heard about the Nigeria Carbon Markets Activation Plan, and we hope that in the days ahead there'll be some more information available on that. But then this particular fund, what specifically do you think it should actually address?
Well, the fund itself is targeted at some of the irreversible impacts of climate change. For instance, you have drought, extreme drought in some parts of the world and in some parts of even our own country. You have communities that have suffered sea level incursion that has robbed them of land massively, disrupted their livelihoods. We've seen cases of communities from Ayetoro in Ondo State, for instance. We've seen the Legushi in Lagos and parts of the country that are suffering impacts of what they did not cause. Those are the kind of communities that should be benefiting from the loss and damage fund.
So what would the fund do for them? Mr. Jakpo, what exactly would the fund do for them? Is it that they're going to build houses for them? Are they going to, what specifics should it address?
The trust is that they have suffered losses, irreversible losses. People have died. Their lands have been robbed by the Atlantic, origin Atlantic. So that fund is supposed to go into what can make them adapt to the current realities. So you have mentioned it. Some of them will need projects that will make them to be able to cope with the climate crisis that they are experiencing. So it's all about resilience. It's all about what can make them cope. You know, what can ameliorate their plight as it is today. So it is not just money to be thrown around. So we have to get that. It is very, very important. It is not just money to be thrown around. It is to make them, you know, enjoy some amelioration of their plight. So that's what the money is supposed to do. It is not just for anything. Yeah.
All right, because sustainability is also key. It's not about something that would not be sustainable or that would be taking them back where they were actually coming from. I must sincerely appreciate you for talking to us. Climate change activist Philip Jakpo, thanks for your time.
Thank you.